Okay, so I guess we start. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Guri Škodra. I come from Sovi, Kosovo, which is a German-Israeli Kosovo company which engages in the development of renewable energy projects in Kosovo and beyond. I'm very happy to see all of you here. I see quite a lot of people, and I'm very happy to understand that there's a lot of interest in sustainable entrepreneurship and sustainable development in Kosovo. This is actually the topic we will be talking about today with many panelists, which I will introduce in shortly. First of all, I would just like to maybe point out that unfortunately, we're living in a time period when we see a lot of damage being done to the environment. This damage is mainly done by us, mostly by the people. It's either because of our consumer behavior, or it's because of how we behave as entrepreneurs. As you're all aware, we as Kosovo, we have decided to, officially decided to follow an environmental path, which also includes the development of sustainable entrepreneurial spirit and businesses in Kosovo. Today, in our panel, we have many guests from different sectors, I would like to point out. We have we will also be talking about real examples that were developed in Kosovo, real examples of sustainable entrepreneurial examples in Kosovo. In addition to that, we also have representatives of other institutions who deal with sustainability in a rather more policy level and promotional level. So they try to promote sustainability in our society and sustainable entrepreneurship. So maybe before I continue too long, because we're with 6 panelists, and including myself, we're 7. So I would like to maybe start introducing everyone one by one. First of all, I will just start. It's Enisa Serhati, who comes from UNDP. Then it's Valerie Tucker, who comes from the U.S. Embassy. It's Valion Sopi, who comes from Zinquini. Zinquin. Is Sven Mustafa, who comes from Balkan Green Foundation. Then is Donika, who comes from INDEP, which is a think tank institution in Kosovo. And finally, we have Karsten Klapp from Go Beyond Initiative. I would like to maybe give the floor first to Ms. Valerie Tucker from the U.S. Embassy, who will let us know of what the U.S. Embassy does with regard to sustainability and the development of sustainable entrepreneurship in Kosovo.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here with you all today. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at this important event on sustainable entrepreneurship as part of Global Entrepreneurship Week. This discussion is happening while much of the world's attention is turned to Glasgow for the ongoing COP26 conference, where many countries around the globe are adopting ambitious climate change mitigation and adaptation goals. We are facing a climate crisis, which will require all of society to act, and the private sector has an important role to play. Regardless of what sector you're in, it is critical that you incorporate environmental sustainability into your business models and supply chains. For example, what methodologies can improve the energy efficiency of your operations? How can you reduce your use of plastic packaging? How is the solid waste and wastewater you generate being treated? How can you measure your emissions and identify ways to reduce them? And can you trace your raw materials back to their source? Maybe your business or idea doesn't just ask these questions, but answers them. Successful entrepreneurs don't just sit back and admire the problem, they find solutions. During my time here in Kosovo, I have seen a wealth of problem solvers and innovators that succeed on the world stage. The solutions to the world's most pressing shared challenges can come from Kosovo. Green entrepreneurship, including climate change mitigation and adaptation, is a profitable sector as well. The commitments that governments are making to avert climate catastrophe will ripple through the economy in the form of public expenditure and private investment reforms. That means the already growing green entrepreneurship sector will pick up even more momentum in the coming years. Renewable energy sources, emissions reduction, energy efficiency, materials engineering, and recycling are just a few sectors to consider. We can also act locally while thinking globally. Kosovo faces a number of environmental challenges, including energy diversification, air quality, water scarcity, and waste management, which are critical for both biodiversity and human health. Whether through the core products and services that your company offers or by greening your operations, you can have a positive impact on the future of Kosovo's environment. At the U.S. Embassy, we're doing our part to reduce the environmental footprint of our own operations through our green team, as well as focusing much of our technical assistance on energy security, diversification, and efficiency. We are also proud of the green technology built into our embassy campus, which allows us to minimize consumption of water and electricity. I'm very happy to be with you all today and look forward to learning from you as we proceed with the panel. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the lovely introduction. Now I would like to give the floor to Enisa Serhati from UNDP. Just to explain, Enisa was also involved in a very good initiative which happened in a city center in Kosovo. As you might have seen these small mobile gardens. But maybe today we'll be talking more about the UNDP stance on that. Please.
Thanks, Guri. Hello, everyone. A real pleasure to be here with you today and to talk about this important topic, sustainable entrepreneurship. So, private sector is a big part of the overall economic development. And as UNDP and as UN in general, we work closely with the private sector in supporting economies to transition towards more sustainable, greener practices. Sustainability for the support to the private sector means, first of all, following the Agenda 2030, because that's the framework that the UN follows. And this means, of course, environmental sustainability, but of course, ensuring fair working conditions, fair pay, and formalization of the economy. So this, the work that we do in ensuring a sustainable private sector covers all of these different aspects. Today our focus is more towards environmental sustainability, so for the conversation. And this is critical. I mean, it was already brought up by Valerie that our conversation is happening at the same time as the world's largest summit on climate change. And we see all of the industries and leaders from around the world stepping up commitments and readdressing the issue of climate change. So, of course, climate change is one topic that we cannot avoid because there's no model of development that Kosovo can follow, which kind of avoids or skips away from following standards and practices and policies of the EU and global UN frameworks. Now, for our office and for the UNDP agency here in Kosovo, what supporting the sustainable private sector means supporting policy level, so working with the institutions to draft strategies and policies that create an enabling environment and legislature for entrepreneurs like the exciting community that we have today. So first of all, supporting policy development, and then supporting the community through different programs that we have, including here trainings in sustainability. So one concrete example I can mention is that we have the ecotourism project, and this emerged as a response to COVID because tourism was one of the most impacted industries. And naturally, we wanted to support the community as one of the hardest hit from the pandemic. So with tourism industry, we're looking how can the industry rebuild from the pandemic by building back greener. And in this regard, we have set up a Green Hub program, and together with University of Pristina and Sustainability Leadership Kosovo, a local NGO, we're working in cooperating and collaborating with the private sector in, first of all, building capacities for greener solutions and to create that environment for transition. So also with small grants that can enable these businesses who have the creativity, innovation, and resources to develop new business models for themselves, but also to transition to greener practices. So first of all, support, but also support with specific criteria. And this is also a big message of our global campaign. I don't know if you've seen the one with the dinosaur speaking at the UN Assembly, which is basically, if we're subsidizing, if governments are subsidizing industries, it shouldn't be industries which are polluting, like the fossil fuels industry, but industries which really help us save the planet instead.
Just a small technical question. This Green Hub, it targets existing businesses or?
So it has two, good question. It has two components. One of it is supporting existing businesses in ecotourism. So it could be small, buitina, I don't know.
Okay, guest houses.
Guest houses, but also tour operators, whatnot, that are offering nature-based solutions to tourism, but also working with the incubator, which is located with Venture Up, that supports startups. So new young people come up with ideas and finance them.
Okay, now as I understand, sustainability comes from somehow personal commitment as well, because no matter what businesses we have, we can all approach sustainable targets, and we can all become sustainable or try to make our way of working more sustainable. Now I know Balkan Green Foundation was quite involved in supporting sustainable entrepreneurial initiatives, as I understood, and you have been developing a program for almost 10 years now, which is basically helping young people start their green businesses in Kosovo. Maybe you can tell us more about the program, but also in general about what the Balkan Green Foundation does regarding sustainability and the promotion of sustainable development and sustainable entrepreneurship in Kosovo.
Thank you, Gori. The program you're talking about is Balkan Green Ideas. 2 weeks ago, we had the 10th anniversary. Oh, I forgot to grab the microphone. In the beginning of the game, you had the microphone then. Thank you, Gori. So the program we're talking about is Balkan Green Ideas. 2 weeks ago, we had the 10th anniversary of the Balkan Green Ideas. It's a program that is organized annually. And first it started with national competition in Western Balkan 6 and also in Greece, so 7 countries participate in it. And from each country we receive 3 finalists that come to whenever we organize the regional competition. This year we organize it in Belgrade, Serbia. And there they compete for prizes that are in 2 lots. There is the advanced lot and then green concept idea lot. The advanced lot is about existing startups that are in the community that are already working and have hit the market, and they get supported with 10,000 euros. And we have one of the winners here. Go Beyond was one of the winners of the Balkan Green Ideas this year. And also we have the green concept idea that is about the startups that haven't hit the market yet. We support them with 5,000 euros. And we work with them to later on go hit the market and also be successful. But also we have another program that is the RISE program. We are the local incubator for Kosovo, and it is organized also regionally in Western Balkan 6. And in that program we try to support the business from the beginning, from ideating. So we start a 4-month program. We try to help them and train them in different fields, from starting from social entrepreneurship, trying to help them create a social business model canvas, and also having some social targets. So in the way they are creating the social impact since the beginning of their journey creating the startup. And then in the end of the 4th-month program, we have a demo day where we select 2 teams, and we continue in a more advanced 6-month program called the Incubation Journey, where we support them financially, but also support them and try to help them first of all, know the market where they're going to work with, because they need to know who they're going to work with, and also how to measure their social impact, because we mainly work with the idea of social entrepreneurship. So in this way, we try to create a social impact in 2 fields, creating a social impact that helps people. For example, right now we're also working with one of the ideas that is from NET community, not employed education and training youngsters that want to be part of the more work, have a profession, and also have a green impact, green positive impact, trying to help the community. In the other way, Balkan Green Foundation also works in the policy level. We're working since this year, also having some meeting and some saying impact meeting with members of parliament and also other stakeholders in Kosovo, trying to gather them and try to have some impact on them to raise some important topics here in Kosovo, like deforestation, also water management, and also, as discussed before by the US Embassy official, waste management, because we're having a lot of problems in Kosovo with those parts. And a lot of waste in Kosovo comes from this field. So when we start from the municipal level, we see that maybe the waste is collected, but we don't know what happens with that. So we really need to always make the question, what's happening after we see something being done in the community? Like we also said before, we cannot let the greenwashing maybe exist in our mind or in communities. So as a community, we need to start asking what's happening with our community and how we're going to work to solve the problems that we're having, or we're going to choose extension as the dinosaur in the UN Assembly is said before.
Because you are heavily involved, like directly involved with businesses and people who might have ideas to start a business, a sustainable maybe business that would have an impact, a positive impact to environment and to the society. What is the interest? Are there many people from Kosovo who want to involve or engage in such?
You have a lot of youngsters that want to be engaged, first of all, maybe in environmental protection activities. So maybe they're not very much focused on the idea how to create a sustainable business because they don't have a previous training or something like that. That's why through the RISE program, especially we're working on that part, starting by training them and then helping them ideate a social entrepreneurship that has a positive social impact and also green environmental impact in their communities. And you have youngsters very much preoccupied with the idea of what's happening with our planet, what's happening with our country, and how previous policies have impacted negatively the planet they're living with. So you have a lot of interest in Kosovo, yes.
But more activism rather than...
yes, unfortunately right now you have more activism than entrepreneurship, but I believe that's a great start, because you cannot expect people starting immediately trying to create a business that's going to have also profit and also in the other way having a positive social impact and green impact. But we need to start from activism, trying to impact the people who will start the businesses in the future, but also impact the existing businesses that exist in Kosovo. Because the pollution that has happened until now in Kosovo and all over the world has come mostly from the corporations that have created a negative impact in environmental.
And yeah, also us as consumers, I think.
As a consumer, getting the product from those corporations. So we are the step 2 in this, I will say, level.
Okay, now before we start talking about the actual samples, business samples of how it's being done, I would like to give the floor to Donika Beqiri from INDEP. Ndoshta mundesh me na tregu çka bën INDEP-i pak më shumë për qëndrueshmëri.
If you don't mind. Okay, unë jam Donika Beqiri, jam hulumtuese e re në Institutin për Politika Zhvillimore. INDEP-i ose Instituti për Politika Zhvillimore është një think tank, një institut kërkimor i cili dhe qendër avokimit, i cili ofron zgjidhje strategjike për çështje socioekonomike, mjedisore e tjerë. INDEP-i, një ndër programet gati në fokusin kryesor programi kryesor i INDEP-it është zhvillimi i qëndrueshëm. Në këtë program punojmë që gati 5 vite. Ka projekte të mjaftueshme, projekte që në vazhdimsi ende janë duke implementuar, të cilat merren kryesisht me zhvillimin e qëndrueshëm në aspektin e policy making, e politik bërjes, por gjithashtu viteve të fundit kemi filluar edhe po mendoj fushën tonë të re, e cila merret edhe me pjesën entrepreneurship ose me pjesën e bizneseve aktuale të cilat funksionojnë në Kosovë, edhe me tentimin që këto biznese të tentojmë të integrojmë dashta praktika të qëndrueshme në ndërmarrjet e tilla. Padyshim, organizatat jo qeveritare luajnë rol të rëndësishëm edhe themelor në tranzicionin e gjithë shoqërisë drejt një zhvillimi të qëndrueshëm, duke u bazuar në fushat prioritare ku duhet me u intervenu në Kosovë. Normal kemi zgjedhur edhe sektorin privat në mënyrë që të tentojmë të intervenojmë në atë që çfarë INDEP-i bën. INDEP-i momentalisht është duke implementuar një projekt të cilin veçësi ka e prek edhe sektorin privat, sektorin privat dhe nivelin po në sektorin institucional apo institucionet e nivelit qendror dhe lokal. Ky projekt normal ka në po mënoj adreson Agendën 2030, Agendën 2030 dhe objektivat e zhvillimit qëndrueshëm. Ky projekt ka për qëllim kryesor krijimin e kushteve për implementimin, monitorimin dhe raportimin e kësaj Agendës 2030 dhe objektivave zhvillimit të qëndrueshëm. Në Kosovë, në mënyra më e mirë për ta, jo në Kosovë, realisht globalisht në mënyra më e mirë për të implementuar këtë agendë është duke përfshirë qytetarë të ndryshëm, nga sektor të ndryshëm. Indepi ka filluar këtë projekt e ka filluar të punoj fillimisht ashtu siç e ciku edhe shpendi nga Balkan Green Foundation, ka filluar prej nivelit më të ulët në një farë forme të qeverisjes, ka filluar të punoj me komuna. Indepi ka tentuar të ngrisë kapacitetet në komuna në lidhje me zhvillimin e qëndrueshëm dhe konkretisht Agendën 2030, ka mbajtur trajnime të shumta të cilat i ndihmojnë zyrtarët komunal të cilët punojnë në komuna, në zyre të ndryshme të departamente të ndryshme të komunave dhe të cilat përballen çdo ditë me qytetarët dhe problemet e tyre, në mënyrë që të përfshinë në planet e tyre strategjike Agendën 2030 dhe objektivat e zhvillimit të qëndrueshëm. Ne konsiderojmë që Agenda 2030 dhe këto objektiva janë gjithsesi një strategji e dur që duhet të përdoren përveç niveli lokal institucional, ndoshta edhe ne si individ ashtu siç e cek edhe ti. Do të duhet të integronim të paktën kompanitë të ndryshme të kësaj agjende në përditshmërinë tonë. Indep përveç kësaj është edhe pjesë e Këshillit për Zhvillim Qëndrueshëm. Është pjesë e jashtme e Këshillit për Zhvillim Qëndrueshëm dhe tenton të punoj me Këshillin, ngushtë me Këshillin për Zhvillim Qëndrueshëm në qëllimin për të ofruar rekomandime të politikave të ndryshme si të zbatohet më mirë kjo agjendë që përfshin zhvillimin e qëndrueshëm dhe objektivat e këtij zhvillimi. Ku do doja të ndalësha është tek puna që ka bërë, meqense edhe tema sot është e tillë, puna që ka bërë Instituti për Politika Zhvillimore me disa biznese në Kosovë, të cilat realisht tashmë në fushën e industrisë njihen si biznese të cilat janë të përgjithshme socialisht, janë korporata të mëdha që ndoshta kanë filluar atë pjesën e tyre në lidhje me përgjegjësinë sociale. Indepi ka përmbushur, ka filluar të implementojë deri tani 3 projekte, të cilat siç e kam lënë ndihmojnë në përmbushjen e disa indikatorëve të objektivave të zhvillimit të qëndrueshëm, rrjedhimisht duke ndihmuar në një të ardhme të qëndrueshme. Disa prej projekteve të cilat Indepi ka filluar të implementojë tani është një prej projekteve Shparko biçikletën tënde, është një projekt i ri i cili tashmë realisht promovon ciklizmin në Kosovë, në Prishtinë, posaçërisht, promovon ciklizmin dhe promovon një jetesë të re, një mënyrë jetese të re për qytetarët e Prishtinës. Duke pasur parasysh që infrastruktura në Prishtinë, sidomos nuk është e përshtatshme, terreni nuk është i përshtatshëm për të cikluar, madje as për të parkuar biçikletën, se keni të tillë dhe vendos të çdo ditë ta përdorësh atë. Ne në bashkëpunim me Bankën për Kredit, e cila ka qenë shumë e hapur dhe bashkëpunuese për të punuar bashkë, kemi tentuar të arrijmë marrëveshje dhe kemi arritur marrëveshje me Komunën e Prishtinës në mënyrë që të bëjmë disa pika të parkingjeve në qytetin e Prishtinës. Ato vendet ku normalisht është më e nevojshme se në pika tjera. Ky projekt pritet të vazhdojë ende edhe viteve të ardhshme dhe pritet që të përveç Prishtinës të përfshijë edhe komuna tjera të Kosovës. Projekti i dytë, realisht e cila është vazhdimsi e projektit të parë, është projekti Parko biçikletën tënde në qytetin e Podujevës. Vlen të thekët që përveç këtyre korporatave të mëdha, në këto projekte të vogla apo ndoshta që nuk marrin shumë fokusin e publikut, kanë rezultuar të suksesshme edhe nga ana e bizneseve të vogla. Shumë biznese të vogla na ka çuditur neve si Indep për shkak se biznese të vogla kanë shprehur interesimin e tyre për të marrë pjesë në iniciativa të tilla dhe për të financuar projekte të tilla, ndërsa bizneset që nuk janë të konsoliduar dhe nuk janë biznese të mëdha. Ky është rasti i disa mobi shopeve në Podujev, të cilat bashkërisht janë mbledhur dhe kanë si pjesë e këtyre projekteve, e këtij projekti kanë vendosur të financojnë saktësisht 10 parkingje të bicikletave në komunën e Podujevës. Përveç kësaj, duhet ta cek që kjo realizimi i këtyre parkingjeve përmbush disa indikatorë të objektivës 11 të cilat është qytetet dhe komunitetet të shëndrueshme të agjendës 2030 për zhvillim të shëndrueshëm. Për më tepër, Instituti INDEP bashkë me organizata të tjera jo qeveritare dhe me biznesin tjetër i cili është American School of Kosovo, shkolla amerikane e Kosovës, ka krijuar një kurrikul të ri. Ka bërë një kurrikul të ri mësimore, e cila në të ka të integruar edhe mësime të ndryshme për riciklimin, kompostimin, reduktimin e përdorimit të materieve plastike. Pastaj është edhe një pjesë e vogël e cila ju shpjegon më të vegjëlve tonë për agjendën 2030 në normal në terma pak më të thjesht, pak të sofistikuar, sepse dim që agjenda është goxha komplekse dhe ambicioze dhe ndoshta është pak e pakuptueshme për të vegjëlit tonë, por ne kemi menduar që të targetojmë të rinë më të vegjëlit tonë do të ishte një mënyrë më e mirë në mënyrë që të promovojnë zhvillimin e qëndrueshëm në të gjitha nivelet. Kjo kurrikul mësimore, duke përfshirë këto mësime që veç i lartësika, është bërë në bashkëpunim me Shkollën Amerikane të Kosovës edhe i është dorëzuar komunës së Prishtinës në mënyrë që të distribuohet edhe në shkolla publike dhe private të tjera. Tentohet të shpërndahet edhe në komuna të tjera të Kosovës në mënyrë që zhvillimi i qëndrueshëm të jetë patjetër pjesë e mësimit publik dhe privat në gjithë Kosovën. Këto janë disa nga projektet të cilat INDEP ka bashkëpunuar me sektorin privat për të mbrirë objektivat ose për të realizuar disa indikatorë të objektivat zhvillimit të shëndrueshëm. Kemi parë interesim të madh nga ana e bizneseve, interesim edhe kurreshtje edhe normal dhënie financave të mjaftueshme në mënyrë që këto projekte të realizohen suksesshëm së bashku me organizata të tjera jo qeveritare në Kosovë.
Vesh një pyetje të vogël teknike, për shkak se këtë kurrikulumin e ri që e keni përgatitur për qëndrueshmërinë është ASK-n, tash po thu që ka më shpërndarë për tjerat. Unë tash po muna me konkludu që pak a shumë zhvillimi i qëndrueshëm nuk është i integruar shumë në plan programet e mësimit, qoftë publik, qoftë privat në Kosovë. A është çashtu është, po
nuk është fare integruar, përveç zhvillimit qëndrueshëm edhe agjendës 2030 si një lloj kornize ashtu konkrete e zhvillimit qëndrueshëm, kjo kurrikul përmban edhe praktika të vogla, të cilët fëmijët mund të realizojnë në rutinën e tyre ditore, siç e ceka riciklimi, kompostimi, reduktimi i përdorimit të materieve plastike e tjera. Domethënë, praktika të vogla të përditshme që realisht gjithë secili nga ne mund të ndihmojnë këtu. Ka pas interesim të madh edhe nga fëmijët gjithsesi, edhe nga shkolla private, po edhe nga komuna normal që të distribuoj këtë kurrikul edhe në shkolla tjera publike dhe private.
Thank you. Okay, being a sustainable entrepreneur, I think, comes with a lot of challenges. If none, then commitment must be there for sure, because you have to rearrange a lot of processes, you have to rearrange your behavior, you have to try to mitigate as much as possible all the environmental impacts that you're doing, and secondly, bring a very good positive social impact to the community, which is, I think, what comes with the sustainability approach. Now, before we move on to the real examples of people who manage to do that, so find the environmental interest, social interest, plus the economic interest in one place, or find a pinpoint of all three and develop their entrepreneurial initiative. Before we move into that, I would like to maybe just ask our technical people to play a video that we have submitted earlier before, and then maybe we can go on with whatever. Këtë sfataga boja. Okay. Valon, this video was from your company, I think.
Thank you.
As I understood, you use waste and make new products out of it.
Yes, we did that before. Since 2007, we use the raw material zinc that comes, titanium zinc from Holland, from Nine Star Netsing Budil. It's a company who delivers over the whole world. We get the raw materials and we make them spare parts or accessories for Europe. So that was the first phase during the last 12 years. We are busy to develop the products for the European market, who needs an improvement on the plumbing sector, because in Europe the time is money, and you have to develop accessories that they will install very fast without welding, etc. So the last few years we were very busy to make for every country, France, Germany, Norwegian, Spain, Holland are one of the most our clients, these accessories of zinc, lead, copper, stainless steel and aluminium. And last year we are very busy with Ledex. It's a Dutch company who invented to make a great product that is going to make a great change in the world, because they are able to make from PVB, that's the waste that it is in the car glass or laminated glass, the foil between. So the polyvinyl butyryl is a material that it couldn't be recycled, so it was dumped or it was burned before. But burning, it caused a lot of pollution. They invented to make roofing materials and with some components that reduce the fire quickness. They reduce also the ultraviolet protection. They produced a lead replacement first. So maybe you have that in your hand. So this is the lead from now, the today lead. It is made from a total PVB and an aluminium stretched material. This material is 20% lighter. It's much more cheaper than the normal lead. It's environmental. It's 10% less using or damaging the CO2. It has a lot of advantages for comparing the nowadays roofs. So the big actually mountain, the big garbage that is still available of PVB, it has a chance to improve the way of covering roofs and facades. So they were busy with in Holland. A lot of companies are always busy to make inventions. So, but they needed a partner to develop. When you make a good product, you need also a partner that has a knowledge in roofing materials, the practice in different countries. So we have done that since I was 16. I was busy with this sector, and I grew up in Holland. I studied there, so the culture of Holland, the way of working, it has helped me to be always successful to the Dutch clients or companies. And we are now actually in a phase that we are developing all the accessories for Ledex so that they can make successful products. You have to imagine that when a plumber has a beautiful material that is sustainable and circular, you have to make also the prefab accessories that it can be installed very easy. Otherwise, they say, oh, it is nice, it is good for the environment, but I cannot use all the accessories. So this we are solving for together with LEDEX in Prizren. For me, it's a very exciting project that we are fully involved to show also the world that these products can be made in Kosovo. They were very busy with some other Dutch companies, universities before that, but some things in some processes in Europe are going slower than here. Here you can find a solution in a few weeks. It's impossible what kind of solution you can find here, because the workers or the young talented people, they have done too many work, so they have an overall know-how. So this has helped us to make quick solutions comparing the other Dutch producers of spare parts. Now it is a time that this product can be also very successful for Kosovo. It is a successful product in Europe. They are going through all the world. They are also at the Expo of 2020 in Dubai, where they covered the roof with this products, and they won the award. Actually, they are winning the award everywhere. So it's very exciting to be a part to develop these. Because actually we are an R&D department of them, and that's thankful that we were since 2008 when we were in Kosovo. We were busy to develop tools, to develop accessories. So we did that for every country, because every country has their own shape, their own form. In the region of France or Belgium, they have different shapes and forms, so you have to be very flexible to make for every client their form. An installer is very nationalistic, and they want their own sound system, not the kind from the north. So this flexibility, it's very strong what we have here. And if you see in Kosovo, the young working people are extremely talented. They are able to work, they are able to overwork, they are able to support you. So solving problems, they stay day and night, and that motivation I think that Europe doesn't know. Europe has an image, actually a bad image about Kosovo. So we entrepreneurs, we could change that. So but I would also advise the young entrepreneurs in Kosovo to be also more busy, because this is the time that is coming. In Europe, it's very popular circular entrepreneuring or circular economy. So that means that the products from today are the raw materials for the future. So in this way, we have to think. I have an example. Now we are designing the packaging, etc., for LEDEX, and the packaging suppliers say, well, we want from recycled carton paper. Yeah, but I don't do that. That's bad material. So no, it is very popular to make something from recycled material. So it is a change. So before that, everyone didn't accept recycled material, but now there is a change that everything has to be circular. So this is also an advice that we as entrepreneurs in Kosovo, we have to think on that way, not only for export, but also to improve our environment, to improve our climate here, so to reduce the CO2, and we can help that with all of these materials. So these materials are much more cheaper, because the waste of PVB it cannot be used. So the transparency of the foil that was in the glass, when it breaks and it separates from glass, it loses the transparency, so it couldn't reuse before. Then you get they made the granulate and they put some patented products inside to protect for the UV, to reduce the burning speed. So a lot of other criteria are put in this, and they are able to make roofing materials that, for example, lead. It's not a friendly product for the roofings. So when it rains and the water of the rain drops down on the ground, it causes actually a lot of damage. So in Europe is a lot of enthusiasm about these products. So I hope that we can show, and you are all welcome to see what we are making, on not only with these products but also with titanium zinc that is also 100% recyclable, but it could be recycled. But this product, it couldn't. So that is the change that is going to change a lot in the world to make the world better.
Just to ask, all the raw materials are imported.
Yes.
And is there any presence, like waste presence of materials in Kosovo?
Yeah, we are searching, because together with LEDEX we are discussing, and they want in every country where is a lot of waste of PVB glass, they want to put a factory there so that there can be made PVB granulate to produce the products. So it is a huge project that is going to change a lot of things in the world, in the roofing sector, facades, etc. So, and our experience during the past 22 years, we have shown them that we are capable to make much more products that they already thought, and they were already busy in 2 or 3 years in Holland. So I want to repeat that, because in Kosovo some things can go very fast. So the talented guys, they are here. Only the problem was that they were isolated because of the visa liberalization. So we are grateful to the Dutch embassy, and I want to thank the representative that they are helping us to get the visa for our workers, our management team. And this is an issue that you need to go with your team to negotiate. You need your technical guys, the designers, etc. You cannot do only by your own as a Dutch Kosovar entrepreneur. So we hope that the government will push, and our embassy will help us to fasten these procedures, bureaucratic procedures, because there are here some companies who are very talented and they could give very good inventive products to Europe.
And I understood that there is a great potential to do entrepreneurial diplomacy.
Yes.
We can call it that way, with circular economy and sustainability approach.
And now is the time to do that, because you know the problem with China, long deliveries, the quality was always a question. That's the reason that I came here in 2007, and now is the time that the problem that is still now with China, we can be in contact with Europeans. So they have realized they need a closer supplier, so a secure supplier that is in the Balkans. So there are a lot of possibilities, but also the government has to stimulate, to make some organizations with fairs, and to bring these entrepreneurs together so that we can show them what kind of quality we can give, and also our working people, really they are, it's a gold mine of talented people. And in Kosovo, you can hire maybe 100 people in 1 week. There are not countries who can do that so fast. So here you have a lot of possibilities comparing with neighbors, or the tax system is also very interesting. But the circular entrepreneurship, it's also a part that we have to how you say, to update and to be in the train, because that train is going fast in Europe, and you have to be in that to be in the circle. So that's my last advice to the Kosovoan young entrepreneurs, but also for potential investors, that there is a lot of possibility in Kosovo to invest and to create a great success. Of course, growing companies needs also some help from experts, because some of the times there is a family company, and when they grow, they need someone who will give them some experience, because at that moment then is the problem that you have to bring some structure. So these kind of topics that maybe we can help also the Kosovoan entrepreneurs to be more successful, because you have to know what is quality, and what some of the important things in Holland are much more important than we are thinking. And I had the luck that I had the experience in Holland, so I know what is quality, and how you have to prepare the product to compete. So we are really competing with companies who are working all 100 years. So it is possible. Only you have to bring maybe the diaspora together, the people who have some experience.
And the best, I think, a unique product.
Yeah. So this is really a product that's going to change a lot in the roofing and facade system. So it's also a solving of PVB that couldn't be recycled, or you can burn it, but burning costs it's drastic for the environment. So I think that I have told enough about our product. So if you are interested, you can visit us, and I hope that I can stimulate other Kosovoan entrepreneurs to think more about inventing products, to produce products from recycled products, because that can be a must to sell products to Europe.
Thanks a lot for the very motivational and inspiring speech. I hope a lot of entrepreneurs have had the chance, or the aspiring entrepreneurs have had the chance to listen to the speech of Valjon, so that they feel enough motivated to do things on their own, or positive things on their own. Now we have a very good example, or another example of an entrepreneurial initiative of a business, Mr. Kastenklup. You are also engaged in a business in Kosovo, as I understood, and you are producing protein from insects. Tell us your story, please.
This is true. But before I started, I would like to underline what you said, Valon, that we live in Kosovo now for 2 years, and before we came, we had a certain picture of Kosovo. And I have to admit, it was a picture full of prejudice. Yeah, and when we came here, what we found was so much different. Yeah, and getting to know the country, not only the beauty of the mountains, yeah, but also the beauty of the people, yeah, and the resources, yeah, the potentials, Yeah, and we live in Dardania, and we get to know young people every day, and being here and seeing this potential makes clear that there is so much we can do to bring this country forward. Yeah, and so Kosovo is really a good place to start something new, and also to maybe start something a bit crazy. Yeah, because the people are here. They are open-minded, good educated young people just to do something. And it's a very, very good place. And I hope that more and more companies also from outside, from Europe, from Germany, from Switzerland, from Austria and other countries will see this potential, yeah, and help us to make use of it for the benefit of Kosovo. So that was this one. So now about insects, and I have to admit sometimes in the morning I wake up and I ask myself, Carsten, what did you start? What did you do? You know, I come from industrial automation and robotics, yeah, and I worked a long years for the automotive industry. And when we came to Kosovo, my wife and I, we first thought, hey, let's continue with robotics, yeah, and maybe we can start a training center, bring robots here and do something. And then when we learned more about the country, we realized that one of the aspects to look at is agriculture. Yeah, there's a huge potential for development. And Kosovo is a good place for agriculture, but still many lands are barren. Yeah, and before we came, there was a young startup in Germany who approached us and said, hey, how can we use robots to automate growing insects? I said, come on, guys, let's talk about something serious, not about insects. And then they started to give me some background, and that was the point where I understood. And now as Go Beyond, we are a very young and small startup. We are driven by the fact that in 2030, which is not far away from now, globally we are missing 60 million tons of protein per year globally for food. Yeah, I mean, the population is growing, but the surface of the earth whereupon we grow food doesn't expand the same way. Yeah, so there is a big problem that needs to be solved. And protein from insect is seen as one of the elements to fill this gap. Yeah, and then we are also driven by the fact that the way we produce food today is connected to the destruction of our planet. Yeah, depending on which statistics we believe, that between, let's say, 30 and 50% of the greenhouse gases emitted comes from animal agriculture. Yeah, like maybe 80% of the rainforest that is cut is because of animal agriculture. Yeah, so that we have to rethink food systems. Yeah, and we are also driven by the perception that when I go shopping, yeah, and we see all the flags, yeah, in the supermarket where the food comes from, there are not many flags from Kosovo. Yeah, so there is a huge potential we can do something about, and this is why we decided let's start with insects. Yeah, and now we have first started in our rented home to grow and to experiment. And we are happy now that in La Placello we could build a small laboratory to learn. Why to learn? It's a very new agricultural segment. There are just a few companies who mastered already growing insects in a large scale, and this knowledge is not yet available. So being here in Kosovo is great. Yeah, we started a research center, and we were able already also to connect with a university in Germany and one of the research institutes, and to base what we do on research. Yeah, and also we are happy that we can be connected to the ICK, because we know at some point we need robotics, we need artificial intelligence, and also like being part of the Balkan Green Ideas, yeah, helping us to rethink our business model and to become more focused here is also a big help, which is also available here in Kosovo. Yeah, and this is something very special here. And the vision which we have is that we want to learn here in Kosovo how to produce insects for food. You might think, oh, food and insects, I'll talk about that in a minute. And for feed, for animal feed, in a larger scale. And once we understood how it works, to find a way and to develop technology to break it down, to enable local farmers also to become part of these new agricultural segments. Because, for instance, in France, there is a huge company. They already got 550 million euro of investment for these insects. I don't know what to do with so much money, yeah. And but there is a monopoly, and we believe that the production of food belongs in the hands of the farmers, of the people, much more than in those of multinational corporations. Yeah, and we have seen through the pandemic that suddenly supply chains become very weak. Yeah, the German automotive industry is missing chips. Yeah, so they cannot produce cars. Yeah, in many products we had in the supermarkets suddenly are not there anymore. Yeah, and so we have to think of how can we in Kosovo produce more food locally and feed for the animals here. And so we are thinking of building a training and research center, developing this knowledge, and then also giving it to local farmers to collectively have part in this new segment, which is globally growing. Yeah. And maybe one last sentence regarding food. I know here in the Balkans, when you talk about insects and foods, that's something, it takes a bit of time, yeah, of conversation to create some openness. But we realized that there is openness. Yeah, and I realized there is more than I had expected. So it's a very good outlook, yeah, on that.
Okay, I've heard a lot today that Kosovo is... yes, please.
Hearing all those stories, we can see that we need to put a highlight of how the public institution need to set an example of using renewable energies or creating standards of environmental positive impacts in the community. They told from the US Embassy how they have created all their objects in having positive impact. And in this way, we have also another project where we have invested in one municipality in Kosovo and one in Albania. We have invested in solar panels in public institution in Klina. So we want them to learn how much in the long term they're going to save money from not paying electricity because they're going to produce it from the solar panels, but also in the other way how they create an environmental positive impact in the community. So in this way, we believe that public institutions in Kosovo have two responsibilities. The first one is to create policies that support young entrepreneurs and also people who want to work on something that is going to create a better future for all of us, and also in the other way create supporting programs for them through different maybe supporting programs with banks or anything like that, because there are some programs here about investments in households, but we need also to have more investments that are more directly to the entrepreneurs and the people who want to create and set examples for the others also to follow up later on.
Like a lot today that you've had all very positive experiences with the local community, meaning in terms of employees, in terms of support through Balkan Green Foundation, the ICK, there's a lot of other institutions that support such ventures. But I would like to maybe also know about the challenges that you've faced here. Both of you, maybe first as entrepreneurs, Karsten and because I believe there are challenges too, and maybe it's good for the viewers to know of them and how you manage to deal with them so that they get some samples.
That's a good question. I mean, for us, the biggest challenge was where can we grow our worms? Yeah, because we came here, and I had a friend who said, "Hey, we can use our store, you know, for growing your worms." And then we came with the worms. He said, "No." And it happened 3 times to us. So we ended up having it in our flat till we finally found a place and to build a climate chamber for this. This was actually the biggest challenge. And since we are still very young and we are still in the phase of, let's say, feasibility, we are not yet confronted with the market. This is one thing. And also, I believe the challenges will come. And turning it around, I think, starting something here in Kosovo, there are more opportunities than challenges. And it's worth to have some courage. It's worth to develop an idea and just to start. And the good thing here in Kosovo is there are many people around. There are many institutions around who are willing to help and to give guidance. And I mean, I come from Karlsruhe in Germany, which is also a kind of startup IT area. And here I feel the environment is not it's like more like a family, because it's a small place, you know each other, and you have more easy access to support, yeah, and to knowledgeable people to help. And so I would say, when it comes to challenges, we should see the opportunities first, and we will find ways, if we have the courage and if we have the patience, to manage the challenges that come.
There's a will, there's a way. Thank you. Yeah, there are some challenges, but every challenge is to be solved. We were pioneers since 2008, and we had a lot of obstacles at that moment. So challenges are to be solved, and the biggest problem is the electricity for foreign investors, because you have to have maybe 2 CNC laser or fiber laser machines. One, you have to have it because when the other has some damage because of the different voltage or frequency of the cake delivery power. So that's a big challenge that a lot of investors, they don't know, and after that they recognize. Another challenge is that foreign investors has to be involved with companies who have some experience, or some institutions or embassies or other government organizations, that they keep an eye on with which partner they close a joint venture, because that's a huge important thing. Most of the diaspora that they come and invest together with German or Dutch relations, that they work there, they miss maybe the entrepreneurship. So that's then the point or the weakness of long-term thinking and having structure and giving on time the product. So you can send a truck 1 week late to a Dutch company or a German, but the next one he don't accept. So this tolerance we have to change. So we have to be more strict. That's the thing that we have to learn from the European entrepreneurs. Another challenge is that there is a huge culture difference between Dutch entrepreneuring or German entrepreneuring and Kosovarian. So we have to find something to bring them together, that the mentality and everything to keep local as possible. So a Dutch salesperson or a Dutch manager, it's very difficult to have success here, to manage their workers, because there is a huge importance in the culture. So these things, they have to go through a few criteria, and I think the help or the advice of existing foreign investments can help them, because there is a lot of opportunity. Other obstacles are, as I mentioned, or challenges are the visa liberalization, that a lot of companies, the owners or the engineers, they cannot visit some companies to buy a machine. They have to buy it from a picture or from here, because the bureaucratic procedures are too long. So they have to wait maybe a few weeks or to travel and arrange a lot of documents. So these kind of problematic issues, they can stop developing and stop the entrepreneur to be on updated for new techniques, because the fairs are very interesting in Europe. So like Chiesa or other institutions has to make more promotion, more organizations with successful Kosovarian companies who are existing here, and being a bridge between Kosovo, Germany and Holland. And now is the time, because now we have the problem with China, and now we are very welcome to Europeans, because before that it was very difficult for Kosovars, and now they want us. So we have to use our time at this moment.
I think we talked a lot about the mostly new businesses and new starters. I would like to maybe, before we pass the floor to everyone who has questions, I would like to also maybe just ask for your comments regarding the existing entrepreneurs and the existing businesses. What I find here is that usually, or what I have seen myself, is that usually these engagement in sustainable approaches within businesses is usually done or sparked by businesses themselves, mainly through some internal procedures or whatsoever. However, I'm not quite informed, and I'm not really, I don't know much about how is sustainability being transformed into existing larger corporations and entrepreneurs in Kosovo. Is there any legal challenge that we must fix and go through, so that more and more businessmen indulge in sustainable activities within their company? Because sustainability can come at any company. It's not only a green business, a business that is a sustainable and entrepreneurial initiative. Every businessman can how to say, impose some sustainability approach within their company and try to mitigate their in order to try to mitigate their impact to the environment as much as possible, and also have a positive impact on the society and the community overall. I would like to maybe just ask for your opinion about how is sustainability being structured and being within the sector, the business sector in Kosovo mainly. Maybe Anissa?
Sure, I can try and answer. I mean, in principle, I think that this is somewhat of a new approach to doing business for Kosovo. It's something new globally. I mean, from the examples that we're hearing, circular economy and new in R&D and everything that is happening is generally new. But we're seeing demand changing and the behavior of people and consumers changing. So clearly there's large potential for businesses that are starting small in Kosovo to scale up, to become larger and to sell locally, but also to export. I think reaching a larger, more mature levels of business development is a matter of time, also support and that ecosystem that everyone is talking about. So it's critical, policy level legislation, but also programs that support businesses that are embracing these kinds of approaches to have access to finance, to have de-risked finance in many ways, and also to be able to showcase these products in fairs, but also in other platforms as well. So I think we have to look at it as a system. Of course, follow the mega trends that are happening regionally, globally. This is something that is affecting us, but it is generally a new industry, and it's something that is evolving locally, but also globally, and there's large potential. don't know if there's more in
No,
business.
actually, because we were talking about how this is also a sustainable approach. Like if someone comes up with a rule in their own big corporation, so this is basically the answer, I think. I think there are a lot of challenges. I think there are legal challenges as well. Mainly, I see that businessmen tend to hesitate to become sustainable. It's mainly because of commitment. Because in the end, it's not that costly. I think to have some sustainable approaches within any company. But I see that they are hesitant quite a lot, and I don't understand why. And I think also there are maybe legal challenges. Legally, they could be asked to do such a approach, but also I think it's a lot comes with the education and with the willingness. That's why I believe a lot is it takes a lot of commitment, and commitment takes a lot of knowledge and takes a lot of involvement, I think, and engagement, which I find one of the I think main challenges here. Before we end up, I think I would like to ask all of you if you have any question for the panelists. I will also check if there are questions being asked online, because we're being broadcasted online as well. So, yes, please.
Hello everyone, Silana from Changemaker.com, founder and CEO from Lithuania. I will provoke a little bit. Nowadays, the sustainability becomes more a norm than something new or we need to push forward, right? But the biggest problem which I see right now is that we do not have sustainability. I will explain what do I mean. Then we are talking, for example, let's take an example, Sweden, and as their consumers wants more and more and more sustainability or recycled products, right? So they have a lack of waste. What does it mean? They buy from other countries, or let's say we are happy that those Chinese they produce because then they have waste. So in this case, sustainability is not sustainable, and personally, me, I think, and I push forward our startups to do that, and companies which we are working with, to find the sustainable problem, to propose sustainable solution, to have sustainable business. So, and I would like you to elaborate on that, how to find and to double check that the problem is sustainable. As an example I can give, for example, e-commerce and delivery. There we have a lot of packaging in the chain itself, right? And we do not think even like carton, which is like from paper, let's say paper box, but we have not only environmental resources used, but at the same time we have a lot of other resources used to produce, then to unpack, then to think where to put that box, and etc., etc., etc. So this is like sustainable problem which we have in the chain. So how to find a solution? So maybe we need entrepreneurs for to solve sustainable problems. So could you please elaborate on that, how to double check where to look for those really sustainable problems, and then we can have a better work together. Thank you.
I think that sustainability and if we go deeper, circular entrepreneuring, it's a long-term vision. So you cannot, as a company, make all the products that you have circular, for example, to be sustainable. So it has to be a process. For example, as I mentioned maybe before, the supplier of the packaging company, they say to us, we don't deliver recycled carton, so we don't work with these bad cartons, but the time is changing, so our clients, they want only recycled products. So it's not in every product, or how you say, secondary products that you have your main projects. So where you can stimulate. So for us, it was easy to them to say, you have to find the carton that it is recycled, because it is in the image of our company. So we have to make the products that are now available. We have to make these raw materials for.
In your case, definitely, if, for example, you do not have enough of recycled carton and the world is going forward to any other direction, the product remains, just the material changes. So this is okay when we are talking exactly about but then we are, especially when we are when you were talking about young entrepreneurs, the ones who are coming into the market, all startups and impact startups, then like somehow we need to think how to help them to find sustainable problems which will not be for short run. Because that's why, as an example, I gave Scandinavian countries which are, and actually Netherlands becoming the same. They are like sick about recycled materials, right? So this is the issue which I see, and it's not that put on the table sustainable problems, but how to double check, how to be sure that we really do not extend processes and we find sustainability in everywhere, let's say. Because your product, definitely, you just replace the material according to the need at that
And
time.
it doesn't lose the value even if you reuse it after 40 years.
Your business is long run anyway, because it's the replacement, let's say, in your business case.
But some of the products, they lose their value when you recycle them. In this case, it doesn't lose, so it can go on. So all the waste that is available, as you saw on the video, it is 1.5 billion kilogram waste every year in Europe that comes from this PVB foil glass or laminated glass. So only 5% of that is used lead. So there are a lot of enormous possibilities to replace with this product and to reduce that waste.
How to double check, because some recycled.
So when you say sustainable problem, is it a problem that is not going away when the industry transforms?
Exactly.
So let's say your raw material that you're using does not disappear because now the industry has transformed. How do we ensure that the new models are using materials that aren't going to be here for a long time?
The new materials.
So let's say you are producing, no?
You explained very clearly the problem, that your problem is sustainable and you are proposing sustainable solution for sustainable. So double checking is that this material will not go away and it will be needed. It will not be a lack of the material, let's say. But in case of plastic and etc., some countries we have a lack already of the material. So in this case already the problem is not so much sustainable, because we are interested that in other regions waste would be produced. So this is how to double check.
There's no waste anymore.
Exactly.
Then there is another inventions to be that like PVB or other PPE has to come together to make another solution where it's a lack on these on these raw materials. So.
But generally speaking, I hope there won't be waste anymore.
I hope we have this problem.
I guess I don't know that I agree with the premise of the question, that would be a problem.
Investing and pushing forward and helping and supporting to double check, but definitely I do not have a formula, but I'm discussing with myself and with audiences all the time.
I think Pend and Custom also wanted to add on that.
I wanted to add something. when you said in the beginning on the young entrepreneurs and maybe the customer behavior, first of all, for the young entrepreneurs, maybe the double check they have to do is separate in two parts. The first one is producing the material, if they are going to sell something, not about service companies. So they need to know where is that raw material coming from and how that raw material in the end can regard onto the community or to the world, so it can be reusable or anything like that, and also the part how it gets transformed. Because if there is a green product in Australia, but I transport here via ways of that in a way pollute air pollution or anything like that, I'm not going to do a green positive impact in the world. So I'm just creating a greenwashing like that. As we were also talking before with Guri, having an electric car in Kosovo is the worst thing you can do to the environment. Why? Because by acquiring the energy for that car, you're going to spend more electricity that comes from not green waste in Kosovo. So having an electric car, what? Yes, I was saying like that. So if you have solar panels in your home, that way you can have a green impact in your community. But by just having an electric car in Kosovo, in that way you even create more waste in Kosovo than we'll have with a petrol car or anything like that. So you have to do it in this way, by having to know every way of your car, your product, or how your business is interacting with the customers, and also with how in the beginning is getting the material and how it is producing that material to return it to the community. Because as it also got answered, they're getting the raw material from the waste and they're using it. And if that raw material doesn't get into the waste, later on that raw material is a positive impact in the community. Maybe we have also to know if the plastic we're getting from the reusable plastic we're getting, if that plastic in 10 years is going to be waste, not reusable, that way we're not doing anything good for the community. Maybe in this way we can have some double checking of the product and also double checking the services that we are creating, because we are seeing that we are having a pressure like saying we don't have any more time to wait. We need to know, we need to have climate action right now, because the planet is worsening every minute that we're living in, and the pollution is not going away. So maybe in this way we can double check, and knowing even if we have reusable plastic or reusable leather, what's going to happen with that? Because if we're going to create materials that comes from the reusable plastic, but in the end that plastic doesn't get reusable, we're not doing anything good for the community. If I answered your question correctly.
I think we want to avoid greenwashing itself and for to engage others.
What I got from your comment is the question, what is sustainability? Because I believe if all of us explain what we understand about sustainability, we all have a different perspective. Yeah, and I believe what is needed is to have a sustainable public discourse about sustainability. Is it right? Because is it sustainable if I put solar panels on my roof? Is it sustainable if I just change my company fleet from to electric engines, drives? Or is it sustainable to say, okay, all my production is zero waste. All the food in the canteen is vegan. Now I just exaggerate a little bit, but maybe not. All my supply chain is following concepts of sustainability. My sales channels follow the concepts of sustainability. My R&D eliminates waste as a concept, and we completely follow a circular thought and eliminate linear thinking from take, make, use, waste. Yeah, and with some friends, we run a small junior youth group in Dardania, like 11 to 15 years old, and we were talking about climate change. And we realized none of the youth ever heard about it. So when it comes to sustainable businesses, we have not to think only about the businesses now. We have to think about the business that are being created in future. And we have to start with the children in kindergarten. We have to start with the children in school, yeah, to really incorporate concepts of a sustainable life in their education. I mean, if we are open to what the condition of our planet is, we might get scared, yeah, if we understand about deforestation, if we understand about the carbon emissions, if we understand about the acidification of the seas, about the overfishing of the seas, if we understand the impact of the bleaching of the coral reefs, if we understand the impact of the deforestation of the rainforest on our climate, if we understand that everything is connected, and if in South America they cut the forests, we have a problem here, I think we need to think also about time in doing things. Yeah? And so when it comes about sustainability, it's a huge word, it's a huge concept. We need to think about what it really is, and we need to think about time.
And to begin by yourself.
Exactly.
Well, when you don't begin, it's een druppel op de gloeiende plaat. It's in Dutch you say maybe a small drop in the sea, but if everyone does that, it will help. So I think that, for example, just to mention to bound these products, they invited to do it by a bioproduct with alcohol, so not with silicons or other products or bituminous products that you have to put a lot of fire. For example, the bituminous is 100% more damages for CO2 than the most green products that are now on the market for roofing or facades are 50% more CO2 damager. So than this. So this is 1% and it is easy to melt, to put in the extruder. So you find this product, and it's unbelievable what it can. So it's amazing, and it's different for every sector. Of course, when you compare the battery of the electric car,
Lithium-ion.
the Tesla use electricity, but what is the problem to destroy that battery? So when you go further on that, but for these kind of products, there are a lot of institutions already in Europe who do a lot of analysis what kind of spin-off effect they have. So that's they are really busy to solve these problems. What is really sustainable?
I think every our activity has impact to the environment, and the idea is we should try to mitigate that impact as much as possible and turn it into a positive one. That's a logic. Try to control the impact, because all our activities have impact to the environment. Even my moving of the hand now is impacting somehow environment at the moment.
Great energy
As well, yeah. So I think there's a lot to be done, but we're definitely entering this age when I think the whole economic concept is going to be replaced with sustainability. There's no other way, as I see it, especially for the future. Else we're going to be destroying our planet quite soon, and we will not have a place to live in. So I think it's a must now. We have to start shifting our minds and our perception and our everything into a rather more sustainable approach. And I'm very glad to see here that some businesses are doing it, because I think businesses are the biggest power somehow in this world. And are there any other questions or comments that you would like? Yes, Frosina.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Frosina Islami. I'm currently running the role of communication for HBC Kosovo. First of all, I would just like to say that I love this discussion. I think we can all agree that sustainability is such a big topic that is impacting and is elaborating every day of our lives now. Though this is such a complex topic, I do believe that in Kosovo case, so we need to think of addressing this locally, because at the end of the day we're all thinking to put some effort into solving this problem locally here in Kosovo. I like the fact when Balkan Green Foundation mentioned the fact that policies need to be improved in order to stimulate the solving skills and solving ideas towards having a more sustainable future, and towards, you know, having everybody be involved in this cause and in this issue first. And second, I believe, you know, raising awareness is a big part of it, because in Kosovo until very late we've had such a lack of information towards sustainability, which doesn't just go towards waste management. You know, it takes, like you mentioned, it has so many other aspects, you know, water stewardship, one of them, energy, climate change, so everything all together. I would just like to say that I'm so happy to have been part of this discussion, and we at Coca-Cola have thought to become part of solving this issue, or to put up some more knowledge, or to share some level of expertise around this issue, because operating on a global level, we've had the opportunity to touch upon so many things, but here in Kosovo, unfortunately, because we do not have manufacturers fast, we're just a distribution center, but as well as, you know, lack of knowledge and lack of already ongoing activities, both in regulatory environment and industrial environment, has made it a little bit difficult. So as a first step, we've created a green committee through American Chamber. So I would like to use this opportunity to invite everybody to join our meetings or share any other ideas you might have, any other comments, as well as to just say that, you know, it's a great future that is expecting us ahead. There's a lot to be done, but I'm just happy to see so many people being enthusiastic about it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, for speaking up. It's good to see you here. I would just like to note before we wrap up, if we're about to wrap up, that together with UN Habitat, the U.S. Embassy has launched recently a campaign called the WasteWise Challenge, also in partnership with Coca-Cola HBC, as well as Bonevet, the Innovation Center, the Kosovo U.S. Alumni Association, and the American Corner in Pristina, where we will be bringing together Kosovo's designers, creatives, tech nerds, and innovators to solve solid waste management and recycling challenges with bankable ideas. And so we've launched this sort of in collaboration with Global Entrepreneurship Week and the COP26 that's happening, that's ongoing right now. And if you want to check out the embassy website as well as the UN Habitat website for the details of the challenge call, we've worked together with local institutions to provide a number of awareness-raising events, expert lecture series, as well as incentives for youngsters or startups or entrepreneurs in general who are interested in applying to compete for mentorship opportunities, as well as startup incubation services from both ICK and Bonevet, as well as incentives from our partners like Coca-Cola, in order to bring awareness and to bring a sustainable, structure to the idea of waste management here in Kosovo, and the private sector's ability to contribute to solving some of Kosovo's waste management challenges. So again, it's called the WasteWise Challenge, and I encourage you to look it up, share it within your networks, and I hope to see perhaps some interest from AmCham members, as well as others who are here in the room with me.
It targets creative industry, so all the creative industry people should.
Yeah, we're looking for bankable ideas on solid waste management, and how to upcycle, recycle, and turn trash to cash. So.
Hey, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Of course.
Are there any other comments? Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Again, it's Peter from the Netherlands Embassy. Very good to be part indeed of this discussion. Very enriching, I think, and very good indeed that there are so many ideas flowing about how to bring, let's say, the business community closer to the challenges that we all face, and not not only the business community, but also the consumers, everybody, governments as well. So indeed, the reference to what's going on in this huge thing in Glasgow is there. So it's a challenge for everybody. And I think, and I was working here with my colleague Ivan on, maybe this is let's say a good platform as well to see whether there is a need also for setting up a more, let's say, structural dialogue between, let's say, organizations that work on sustainability, the business people, and maybe also people from, let's say, international organizations, embassies, such as the small Dutch embassy here in Kosovo, to bring that more structurally together, to brainstorm on these very good ideas that are developed within, you know, people like yourself, within these companies, also of course the international experience that some of us bring as coming from embassies, international organizations. But I do see that there is maybe a need also here in Kosovo to have, let's say, a platform which is structurally engaging the international community, business community, but also the local NGOs to discuss these topics, and also to indeed to sometimes define what we're talking on, because indeed sustainability as such is quite it's sometimes also quite difficult, and specifically if you want to have local solutions which make sense in the Kosovo settings, because some of the things we do maybe in Germany, in the Netherlands, in the US, are not the best suited maybe for here. So in that sense, I think it would be good if you know, organizations like AmCham, like the Innovation Center can think about bringing, let's say, the business community, I think the NGO community, but maybe also the donors, on a more structurally based together, specifically on this interesting topic as sustainability. But thanks again for organizing this. Very well targeted. Thank you.
I've checked online. I haven't seen any questions, or at least not on the link or the feed that I received. I will double check again because it's not good to.
Maybe just to highlight that UNDP, together with the Ministry of Environment, we're actually supporting the ministry to set up the process for drafting the circular economy roadmap for Kosovo. And more than half of it is this stakeholder dialogue. And this includes institutions, private sector, and non-governmental organizations, and international community in Kosovo. So I hope that at least in terms of circular economy vision for Kosovo, we will be able to support a functional dialogue starting very soon.
In absence of comments, maybe I would like to wrap this up, or actually I don't think there's a need to wrap up. I think there was a lot of wrapping up almost the whole time. I would like to thank you all for being here, and also those that have been watching us online over the social media. We hope that these conversations will become more frequent and more often and part of our daily public discourse, as we discussed before. And we hope that we will have more and more entrepreneurs becoming or having a sustainable approach, but also more sustainable businesses growing. We'll see each other, I think, on our next occasions. Thanks a lot. Thank you.